Okay, great. So the sound check, it's okay. Yeah, first of all, thank you. Thank you for being here at the interview. It's a great pleasure and honor. And I already, as I said during the short briefing, it's really special for us and for the Ticino community, not only about the triathlon event, to have you at this podcast and had the chance to run an interview with you. So yeah, great to have you. How are you doing?
Thank you very much. It's great to be on the podcast. I always love to come to the Italian part of Switzerland. I love the Ticino. So yes, I hope that a lot of people are listening, and I really like to come to Locarno again, hopefully this year or otherwise next year.
Yeah, I mean, of course, you are always invited, and you have always the number one waiting for you. And again, I mean, my heart it's really beating fast right now, and you're an Olympic champion, a mother of three. You're approaching Tokyo for heading to the fifth Olympic Games. Such a great career, and I mean, again, such a great family, because just before the conversation here, I was talking with Reto, that also had a great career. He was at Sydney in 2000, and we were just talking about how it's special to have all those experience and friends all around the world. So um, one of the first topics that I just wanted to highlight, it's the project about the Nicola Spirig Kids Cup, and what is going to happen in 2022. But first of all, I just wanted to ask you, were in Gran Canaria racing recently, right? And
Yes, that's correct.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course you won the race, and it was really an impressive performance, because the second was 6 minutes behind, and the run, I guess, was really impressive. So like how was going back to racing again, and feeling the atmosphere?
Yeah, it was really nice to race again, of course. We didn't have a lot of races. Every one of us is just training. If you even can train, a lot of age group athletes couldn't even swim. So it's a difficult time, and it's good to have races back again, even if there are not that many yet. So Gran Canaria, the middle distance race, the challenge race, was one of the first races for me this year. And the atmosphere was great. All the athletes were really excited about racing again, and really thankful for the organizer to put on the race.
Yeah.
I was feeling quite fit, but of course I didn't prepare for a middle distance race. I'm preparing for the Olympics at the moment, but I always put in some longer distance races in my preparations for the Olympics. So before London, I did about 2 or 3 70.3 races. Before Rio, I did the same. So that's quite normal for my coach to fit in some 70.3 races. And but I went there with my normal road bike, and just combined it with a training camp in Gran Canaria. So it fit really well. I felt good. I had a good swim. I think I had a really good bike. And then on the run, my coach said I should just run controlled and just go a good pace, which was comfortable for me until the last 5K, and then run fast the last 5K. So for me, that was really nice, because I could run in a comfortable pace and see that the other athletes were not approaching, and then run fast in the end, and see that the gap got bigger. So it was a really, really good race for me.
Yeah, exactly. The timing, looking at the splits after the bike, you were nearby Sarisa and Lisa, and then you really, you had like more than 4 minutes in the running leg. So it was a good control. Congratulations. And yeah, I just wanted to ask, since you mentioned it, London, because Lisa Norden was there too. She come in the third place. So how was, you know, meeting with her again?
It was quite normal actually. We didn't see each other that much. We didn't talk that much. We only see each other quickly at the briefing, and then after the race, of course, we said well done. But because I only arrived shortly before the race, and I stayed 15 kilometers away, so I didn't spend a lot of time on the race side. But it's always good to see the athletes again and see how they are, how their life goes, and always exciting to see how everyone is.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned that you had then the opportunity, you were there for a couple of weeks for the training. So how was training in Gran Canaria? I mean, right now, how is the logistics given the situation and the possibility to properly prepare for an Olympic game? I mean, it's just mind blowing, no?
Yeah. Yes, yeah, it was nice to be able to travel again. The plan was to go to Gran Canaria already in January, February, and it was not possible to take the family with me because they would have had to go into quarantine coming back, and that was, my oldest son is in school, so you can't just do that. So we decided to stay in St. Moritz and just train in Switzerland. And then in March, we went to Gran Canaria for 2 weeks. And now in April, we went again for 3 weeks. And it was nice to be able to travel again. It was very nice to have the warm weather. I'm convinced that is a big benefit for me to go somewhere where it's just warm and you can always just train in shorts and short shirts and don't have to worry about the weather. So yes, I think it was a great training camp. We could have the pool at 7 a.m. each morning, just for us. That was really nice. And then the running and cycling was no problem. We had to wear masks all the time outside of training, but that was not such a big deal. So that was okay. Okay.
So again, very, very happy to hear that, and that you are really being able to approach the games in the best condition. I mean, taking out the COVID situation, what differences you see with this preparation against the previous one? I mean, like you mentioned weather, do you expect to have a kind of particular weather in Tokyo, or that you are taking in account right now?
Yes, definitely. I think that's the interesting part. Going to the Olympics the 5th time. Sometimes people ask me, why are you going a 5th time? You already lived it and experienced it, but it's different each time. Each time there are different challenges. Each time my life is different. Like the first Olympics, I went as a young athlete and was really happy about qualifying for the Olympics. And then the second time in Beijing, I was among the contenders, but not that great yet. And then the third time in London, I really wanted a medal and I became Olympic champion. So yeah, so the 4th time I went there in Rio, I was the defending champion. I was the one being chased and I became a mom. So my life was completely different. The preparation had to be different. And now again, with 3 kids, it's crazy. And as well, as you said, Tokyo is very, I think, challenging because of the weather. It will be really hot and really humid. And at the moment, because of COVID, it looks like we can't have a preparation camp in Asia because there's a lot of rules and restrictions and quarantine and not being able to train. So it looks like we would stay in St. Moritz and just doing the acclimatizing with like a sauna tent, riding in a tent, and going into steam rooms and stuff. So that will be interesting. That will be a challenge.
Yeah, I mean, there is a huge, chapter of questions that I will really be, asking, but I will not go through all of them. But I read a couple of books about Brett Sutton. I mean, you have a great long collaboration with him, and one of the things I read, he was, sometimes you have his athletes, running marathons or training at a turbo in the basement, right? Is that a legend or it's real?
It's not all true what you read about him. I was being approached by a Swiss athlete when I think that was 1998 at my second European Championship as a junior, and he was an elite athlete, Marcus Keller. He went to the Olympics in Sydney with Reto. He came to me and said, "Oh, you will never learn how to swim fast except you come to my coach, Brett Sutton. You should come to him." And I was 17 and I started to read about Brett, and I read all these stories about him, about letting his athletes ride in front of a white wall and not giving them any water to drink and everything. And I was like thinking, no way I train with that guy, like ever. So when he first approached me, I told him right in the face, "I will never train with you," and I walked away. And I think that kind of got his pride. He wanted me to train with him afterwards. And but it took me probably 1.5 years until I really started to train with him, until he convinced me that I should at least have a look. And a lot of stories are not true. Like for me, he's a really, really hard coach. That's why he has success. But for me, the important thing is that he can explain to you why he's doing every session. Like there is no session he's just doing to try to break you or to try to whatever. There's always a sense behind the session, and he can explain it to you into every detail. So to me, that was really important. And no, I never had to ride. I have to ride on a turbo, of course, but I can listen to music. I can watch out of the window. Okay. So it's very normal. It's not what you hear about him.
Yeah. I mean, I'm following the blog, and I mean, there are a lot of things that he put out that are really helpful for triathletes. There is a book written by Chrissy Wellington that was one of the athletes, and I really hope you are going to have also kind of bio book sooner, because I will read it. But in the biography of Chrissy Wellington, a lot of training methods with Brett were reported, like at the birthday, the day that you have the birthday, you have to do the 10K, right? Or everybody have to do it, right?
Yes, that's the birthday present, 100 times 100 in the pool. Even that one, we don't do it at all at every birthday. Like, no, it has to make sense. Like it has to fit into the training schedule. And it's kind of a team building thing, as you say, not just the birthday kid or the birthday person has to do it, but the whole group. And then it gets like fun, Everyone gets like a bit scared, but also a bit excited because it's such a big session. And we go to the pool together, and we can do it together. So it makes sense. And if it doesn't make sense, we don't do it. But yes, I trained with Chrissy. She was there when I was training with Brett as well. I trained with him like 15 or 16 years, so a long time. And of course, I think what makes Brett a great coach is that he has different approaches about many things. Like he doesn't just listen to the triathlon community and thinks everything that scientists or someone is saying is true, but he tries out. He has a lot of experience. He's a coach since he was 15 and now he's 62. So a long time as a coach, but was also a boxer himself and was training horses and dogs. And he's actually saying that's the time he learned most about coaching, because he could just study them and observe them, and they couldn't talk. So he just really had to study what they did and how they reacted. And but he has he can read human beings really well. He doesn't treat every athlete the same. He treats us really different. No one of us has the same training schedule. Like everyone trains according to their strengths and weaknesses. So, and that makes the training really interesting. Like no day is the same. And he always wants the feedback from today until he gives you the training from tomorrow. So he really cares about how tired you are, what you did today, how it was going, and only then, which makes it really difficult to plan with a family, but it gets the best out of you as an athlete.
Yeah, it's and again, the thing that I like, it's very fair also to the age groups. If you want, you really have a fair approach, for what I can tell that, and it's also sorry. And one thing that I just wanted to stress, it's very sharp also when it comes to triathlon, right? Because recently he was talking about the bike position, and he was taking you as an example, right? Because there is this thing that you really need, to try to just thinking of the bike, try to be as much as in line as possible. And if you look at your bike position, it's very different from what you will see from the usual triathlon or bikers. So it's this something that you matured with him, or it was just a natural way you will go on the bike?
Yeah, I think that's one of his strengths, that he looks at the person and doesn't just tell everyone to do the same. Also in swimming, I know a lot of coaches and swim coaches, and they teach every person the same stroke because that's the best stroke. But Brett says there is no best stroke. You have to look at the person and how big or tall she is, and what the stroke is, and how they swim, and then you can find out what's the best stroke for them. And for me, the bike position, I'm always, even in the run, you see me running quite wide, and everyone is laughing because I'm running a bit of like that, and the biking and the swimming as well, I'm swimming quite wide. And so I have like kind of broad shoulders, and I like to have the elbows quite wide. So he just said, why change it if that's comfortable for you, and you're not comfortable being really narrow, because you always get lower if you have wide elbows. So you might have a bit of more resistance because you're not that small, like narrow.
Yeah,
but you get lower. So it's not a big difference, and you feel much more comfortable. So, and it has an effect on the run afterwards. So I think it's the positive about him is he looks at the whole picture. As you say, he looks at triathlon as swim, bike, run, and not as a bike and then as a run and a swim in a like different picture. And he always thinks about all three and how you put them together the best.
Yeah. And again, I'm sure there are a lot of athletes and coaches that are taking notes right now. And thank you for sharing those insights, because it's really gold. It's coming
well,
back.
As you say, it's actually funny because he on one hand he loves those stories about him being this hard coach, and he doesn't do anything to say it's not true that he lets athletes ride in the basement in front of the wall, because he likes that image and he thinks it's an advantage for his athletes. Like if they turn up, everyone thinks they are a bit crazy to train with Brett. So that gives them an advantage in the race. But on the other side, as you say, he actually loves sharing his knowledge, especially to age group athletes. And he loves training age group athletes because to him, it doesn't matter how fast the person is. He just wants to help them to get as fast as possible to reach their best. And it doesn't matter on which level that is, if it's professional or age group, or if they only have 10 hours to train, only 5 hours. So he hates looking at people training the wrong way. He can't stand it. I saw him many times go over to an athlete. He had nothing to do with that athlete, but he just couldn't stand looking at him doing the wrong thing. So he went over and started to teach him or tell him his thoughts, just to help him for no other reason than make him better. Like that's just his
values.
what makes him, yes.
And I mean, I really also like that you are telling that, because you can just say it from the smile on your face that you really like this, not only from the, sport perspective, but just like the person that you want to have around in your life. And and that's also a good example, right? So don't just look at the surface of the people, but go behind, because under that there is something precious, right?
Exactly. He's such a good example, because I hated him in the beginning. Like I thought he's the worst person in the world. And I, as I said, I never wanted to train with him because I heard all these stories. And he said, well, why do you judge a book by its cover? Just come to my group and have a look, and look for yourself what kind of person I am, and what kind of, I always said his group is terrible. I heard stories about they don't say hi in the morning, and they hate each other. So I said, I don't want to train in such an environment. And it was completely different, but you just couldn't tell from the outside. And that's the same with him. If you look at him, he looks awful, and he's sometimes, as I said, he doesn't mind the image of him as a hard coach and as a kind of bad person, but he's completely different. If you know him, yes, I respect him a lot, and over the years he really became a friend and not just a coach.
And yeah, you can tell that. I remember the the videos in Rio, when you're kind of, I guess, trying to figure out the strategy. Of course, you talked about it also, Ilya. And one of the questions that I had, on what happened in Rio, and before, if I'm not wrong, you had also in the before Rio, you had also an injury, a very bad injury, and exactly. You were not able to train properly. But the question that I had, was about the strategy in the bike, because I really like it when you went out of the swim and you really started attacking on the bike, because you knew that you had to do some damage on during the bike to really have the best shot. So, and I really appreciated that. But I mean, was this the strategy, or was just the heat of the moment? Or, if you can tell.
No. Yes, no. We had different strategies. Like we had plan ABC, and I think that's good. I like to go into races and be able to react differently, like depending on how the race goes. I was never an athlete who just was hoping on a good swim, and if the swim was bad, well, too bad, I'm sitting in the pack and see what happens. So that was never my goal. I always like to be active. And so, yes, it was definitely, I knew if I would come out in the first pack in the swim, I would work hard on the bike. And the thought behind it was that we had trained for it. Like I was so fit from his training, his hard training. And I was practicing that in every training, that I would ride really hard and still be able to run fast after that, run off the bike. And I knew it wouldn't affect me as much as the others. Even if they drafted behind, it would have a lot of athletes suffering from the pace. And that was my chance, like just to challenge them on the bike, to get them tired, even if I also got tired, of course, because I was riding in the front. But I knew it would affect them more than me, and I could still run off the bike quite well.
Yeah, I mean, it was really spectacular. Hey, I mean, I remember watching at the TV. Then we watched the game, like the race, like 5 times. Whatever was about to happen during the run, we were so proud that you were dominating the leg, and we were so confident. also because, knowing your running skills. And, before you were talking about running, I remember you did, among many, European, World Cup and Championship, but you also ran it a World Cup, if I'm not wrong, as a marathoner, right? Running a marathon. I guess it was
Yes.
in Switzerland, and there is, I think all the triathletes were so proud because you can see just the pack of runners, and you can say who is the triathlete. And so, did you? It was so amazing to see you over there and being able to deliver and compete at that level on a marathon. Just great. And then maybe later on we can also talk a little bit about the Phoenix project. But my question was, did you had, to which extent you changed your training to prepare for the marathon? Did you still kept something in the mix with the bike and swim, or it was just running?
Yes.
And I know maybe it's a very
Yes,
stupid
definitely.
question.
No, it's a good question. And I think maybe a lot of athletes would have just gone to running. But it was a time I became Olympic champion in 2012. And then I had our first kid in 2013. And in 2014, there were the Marathon European Championships in Switzerland.
Yeah, European,
and yes, European Champs was that, exactly. And I was thinking about stopping my career. I said, well, I'm a mom now. I'm not sure how my body is afterwards, or my mind. Maybe I'm not liking racing that much anymore afterwards. And he said, well, that's fine, you decide, but we can do something completely different. Like, we don't have to do all these World Cups and all that stuff you had to do before. We can do Ironman, or why don't you just prepare for the marathon? And I kind of liked this proposal because it was a huge challenge, a new challenge, which really motivated me. I love running, so it was kind of fun. I didn't have to compare with before. I was just kind of, it was a new situation, and I could just try. But Brett and me knew that I couldn't just run 240k per week like Maya Neuenschwander does. Like, my body was not used to it, and it's also not made for it. I can't run that much. Normally I only run every second day. So we knew that I still had to use the bike and the swim to get fit, to get the aerobic part, and we only used yes. So I really used a lot of biking and swimming still, and wasn't running that much more. And so I really benefited from my triathlon background, even when I was doing the marathon.
And again, great, congratulations for also being successful over there, because already as a triathlete being able to be in that pack was already an accomplishment. And then again, something revolutionary happened also for the preparation in Rio, because before the Olympic Games you did the first Ironman, right?
Yes, I think that was also in 2014.
Just after,
I think so. Yeah. It was just a crazy year. I tried. That's Brett. We did races from 3K on the track, like from 9 minutes to 9 hours, just whatever came. And I did some World Cups at the end of the year, and I was in Cozumel in Mexico and did a World Cup there. And he said, well, in 6 weeks there will be an Ironman here. Why don't you do that one? And I was just laughing and saying, yes, why not? So I only have to do long bike sessions for 6 weeks. That's okay. Yeah. I can do that.
It's comfy.
So I flew home, and I think I did 2 weeks on the turbo at home because it was end of the year and getting cold, and then I flew back and had some weeks in Cozumel, and prepared 4 weeks for the Ironman. And it was just, I think that's why I stayed in the sports for so long. It was a new challenge. It was very exciting. Again, just a big adventure. And so for me, this mix of also having private things like having my kids in between, having a year off racing and then coming back and having new challenges, I think that's what kept me in the sports for so long. And it was also one of Brett's advantages that he knows how to always challenge me again with some new crazy ideas.
And again, it's also a good recipe that you're sharing, because, you know, to mix it up a little bit, to have, you know, different experience. And again, triathlon, it's also, I really like the sport because it's so large when it comes to the range of racing. And, you know, there are so many different things that you can do in the sport. But again, what I'm impressed is that, you know, so far you were able to be dominant in almost any distance. And this is, you know, so my question will be, you know, to which extent the training in triathlon has changed? Because, you know, you are preparing for an Olympic distance, you just won a half Ironman, and then there is the Sub-8 project just in the front. It's it's, you know, the range is so wide. So I mean, to which extent the training is going to be different there, or it's so the training is so similar that you can manage to cope with the three distances?
I think our training, our Olympic distance training for the Olympics is still very good for half Ironman distances. So I don't have to change my training much, or I don't change it at all. Actually, I do Olympic distance training, and from that I can do a really good half Ironman. But Ironman distance is a different training. Like for that, I need to train differently. For the Sub-8 project, I do need to change my training quite a bit. But I think it's a good preparation to do the Olympics and be really, really fit and fast, like have the fast end covered, and then have a bit more than 6 months to really work on the distance, to really be able to do 180K on the bike and run a marathon of it. That does need different training, but I will have those months to change the training and to adapt to the different distance.
Yeah, it's again great. And well, just about we mentioned it, the Sub-8 project. So if you don't mind, I just wanted to ask you about the Phonics Foundation and the Phonics project. So what this is about, how it comes to your table, actually.
Yes. How it started was kind of, I got a call from Chris McCormick. It was quite, I think it was like last spring already. And he mentioned the Sub-8 project, that he wanted to find 2 girls and two boys or men doing an Ironman, trying to get under 8 hours for the women. And I was just laughing and saying, well, ask Daniela or whoever won, not me. I'm preparing for the Olympics.
Come on.
Yes, so you know me, Marcus. So that was the first call, and I was not really, I was not really impressed, or I was not thinking that I would accept this challenge. But then a lot, like he explained to me the whole thoughts, the whole idea behind it, that it's not just a race, but it's a part of the Phoenix Foundation, and this foundation has a really similar sense or goal as my own foundation in Switzerland, the Nicola Spirig Foundation. They want to help kids getting active, seeing how sports can help them in life. Like, it's not just, of course, sports is healthy, but it can also help you like learn how to work towards a goal, or not giving up when a problem is coming up. And in sports you can learn that so easily, like there are no consequences. Like if you lose a race, you might be sad, but nothing else happens. And so you can learn a lot of things and then use it in life. And they have the same goal. We started to talk. We started to see a lot of similarities, and we started to work together and talking about an international project also with the Brownlee Foundation from Alistair Brownlee in England, and also with Australia and Thailand and some other Asian countries. And that was really, really interesting for me, because I think the more people we have trying to help kids, the better. And Sub-8 is also, it's about kids, but it's also about inspiring everyone, the next generation, age group athletes, everyone, to just follow their dreams and not give up, and just really try to reach their goals, even if it's a crazy one. So even if we don't reach the Sub-8, we hope to inspire the people to really go after their dreams, because you learn so much on the way there that it's always worth it. And that's the real, I think for me, that's the real message about it. And that makes it interesting.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, it's very nice to hear that. And, you know, it's also, as you were saying, you know, having goals. And like it just happened for the marathon, the sub 2 hours, or, you know, the guy that, you know, ran the first mile below, you know, the 4 minutes. Then when you break some walls, it has also a symbolic effect, right? And you know, when you were talking about the values about you know, behind the foundation, and I'm really happy that you find also this in this even, you know, more international project. It's really having this space in which you can build up your muscles, right? In which you can really shape the values and really embrace the sport values. And again, you as a symbol of, you know, the Olympic Games at this stage for what matters in triathlon and in sport, the fact, you know, just to take part and to keep goals give you meaning, right? Because then you learn how to sacrifice, and this is so important, especially, you know, right now in a such a decremental moment in which there are a lot of things happening. And also, you know, I think you're also a very, I would say, strong and positive, you know, person to look for, also for the women. And if you look what happened in the last years, a lot of things, you know, changing in that perspective. So how you feel that? I mean, do you think it's also already in sport, the respect that you gained and all the women's gained through sacrifice, it's really changing the culture?
It's a hard question, because I never really looked at it like that. Like I just try to do my best, and I have my goals, and if I can inspire other people with it, that's really nice. But it's hard for me to judge. So, but yes, I think it does change. Like when I had Yannis, our first child, I think it was really different. There were not a lot of athletes having kids and then continuing with professional sports. And now I feel that there are a lot more athletes doing it, and it's very positive, because it's not easy, and you do need a lot of support of your environment. If I wouldn't have my husband Reto, it would be impossible. But it is it is a huge privilege to do it. Like, to combine family and professional sports is very, very nice. And I think more women, if they have the support, they should do it and try it. And it's nice to see more women go for it and try it.
Yeah, and I mean, you just mentioned it, Reto, that again, I'm very fond of Reto. He's an idol like you for me, but the two of you really form a great team, right? Because it's it's about doing your best, but also having a family and find out this balance, and having the two of you working together to make it happen. And it's such a great example. I mean, it's of course I don't want to do any ask any intimate question, but it was easy to find this balance immediately, or I mean, how you manage the work-life balance, or the sport-life balance.
Exactly. I think it's exactly the same. Not it's different for everyone, but I think if age group athlete or professional athlete or whatever, this is one of the hardest parts, to find the balance between work and training, family and training. It's not easy, and I think it's a daily thing to find this balance. It's not done. You don't find it and then you have it, because the kids are changing, their needs are changing, training is changing, the whole situation is changing. So you always need to adjust again and talk again with each other. Like Reto and me have to talk, to discuss what's the best for the family, what's the best for us, how can we manage it so that everyone is happy. And to find this balance is one of the most important, and has to be done like again and again and again.
Yeah.
It's not a thing that is just done and we found it. And I think that's also what makes it hard. But yes, it's I think it's the only way how it works.
Yeah, and again, it's a dynamic process. It's happened all the days. And again, sport, it's also a good example in that sense, right? Because you can be fit right now, but you need to do your training. You need to keep up with the work to keep it, right? And then this is like the beauty also of triathlon, because it really brings a lot of values and you spread it, to the group age community, in which you have those values that you can train in a safe environment, and then you can really apply them externally. And again, you're such a great example of that. And I mean, I've been almost, you started in 2014 with the Nicola Spirig Kids Cup, is that correct? It was 2014.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've been to all of them in Locarno when you then arrived. And I can tell you, I mean, I'm active here with the local society, the Triathlon Team Ticino, and all the kids that we have look to you, and the pictures that you do at the end of each race, waiting to the kids to come, or, always available to make the pictures. All of those kids, they have the picture of you with them, and it means a lot. And so
it's very nice, because it kind of means a lot to me as well. It's very nice to see the kids and how much fun they have to do the triathlon, and also how much they like to have a picture or have the autograph card, or it's for me, it's also really nice. If I can only inspire one of them, it's already worth it. And I was very, very lucky, because I always had this support, and I had parents who supported me, and all the environment. I was always able to rely on a big team. And I just, with the Kids Cup, we just wanted to give something back, and really give the kids the possibility to have a nice experience with the whole family at those races, and just have fun, and kind of see that sports can be fun. And for me, it's great to see the kids, and I love the little ones, like the ones with the Leica bikes and the swim aids, and they are just so happy, and just don't care about if they get first or 23rd, and they're just having fun, and it's really nice to see.
And okay, so just since we are there, if you allow me, I will just share the screen with the program for 2021. So maybe we can just go through it a little bit. Can you see it? Can you see it,
Yep.
Nicola? Okay, so
Yep.
basically it's starting in Sursi, the 27th of June. Is that correct? Is confirmed,
Yes,
I guess?
I think so. Yep. Susa
So,
is terminated now. It's an old friend of us, Matthias Hecht. He was starting in the World Cups as well, and he's organizing it. So it's also very nice to see all the athletes taking part in it as well.
and that's also a great thing of that project, because you were able really to put so many people together on something very, very important. And then, it's of course a very strange season, but if everything goes, according the plan, there is a good chance that you will have almost 9 events. And I see that Vevey and Bern, it's still to be confirmed. But starting end of June, there are 2 appointments in July, in Bulak and St. Moritz, and then Sarnen, Ballstatt, and then Locarno, of course, the 4th of November. And then Shahuda, it's do you recall which was the first one? I mean, the back in 2014, what was the first Kids Cup that you promoted?
The first Kids Cup, Reto's just coming in. I think it was Bülach, wasn't it, or Vevey? Locarno was also really, it was part definitely. Lesa was the first one, yes. We were training in the French part for the Olympics in London. We stayed there, and Lesa was our training camp or training base. And so that was the first Kids Cup. Yes, I think so.
Yes.
We did the first one there, and then we were adding Bülach, and Locarno was among the first ones as well, I think.
Yeah.
So,
hey,
yes.
Ciao Reto. Happy to see you again. You look great. So are the kids asleep?
All the kids in
Yeah.
Almost. Last one is getting ready. Last one is getting ready.
You will tell me before that you and Nicola were managing to accommodate the interview, and so thank you for that. Yeah, the question for the two of you: who had the idea to start the Kids Cup? What is the?
I think, well, the original idea came from Brett, actually. He was he was the one saying, well, now you're Olympic champion, and as an Olympic champion, you are a big idol and you need to give back and you need to do something now. And so he was actually the one pushing me and us to organize something to inspire kids. And then it was probably me who said, "Oh, Reto, can't you organize something?"
She had the idea and I had to do it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's teamwork, right? This is the way it works.
It's teamwork.
Come on.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, so we were just going through the calendar of the races. So, Reto, I see that Vevey and Bern are still to be confirmed. I don't recall. Are they scheduled somewhere in August, September, or do you remember what is the current?
About the dates for the events.
Right. Yeah.
So Bern and Vevey are not confirmed yet. Also Bern will be definitely not have one, as we unfortunately have construction work at the pool there. So we tried to find a solution for another place in Bern, but we could not find one that is actually suited and available for us for swim, bike, and run. We tried to look at places just for the swim and run, or maybe bike and run, but it's just really difficult. So we decided not to have one this year, but we're gonna definitely have one in 2022 with the new built Weierli Mannshus, it's called.
Mm-hmm. New build pool there.
New pool there, which is huge, and we are looking forward for next year. So we're not going to have Bern, but with the other ones, we're optimistic to get them ready for the first one in end of June.
And yeah, well, another follow-up question that I had for you, it's, I know that there is also something maybe new coming. So are you, preparing something for 2022, or are we going to see something new already this year in terms of the Kids Cup organization?
Yeah, it's more not for the organization, but in general, we had we were discussing how we gonna in the long term how it should be managed and how it's possible to make sure that we keep on going for the future kids. And therefore we had the opportunity to work with a foundation. That's the Phoenix Foundation that is based here in Switzerland. And we had an agreement on that. So we're gonna have we work together, and it will be called the Phoenix Kids Triathlon by Nicola Spirig.
Okay.
And we're gonna have maybe a makeover and it look a bit different, the logo and everything, but the idea behind is exactly the same. But we just want to make sure in the long-term view that the kids have the opportunity to start triathlon and starting through us with the kids. Triathlon by Nicola Spirig.
And this is such a great thing, because you're looking also at the partners that you are able to attract. I mean, it's really great, and the fact that, and I think it's right to stress it, the fact that you are really doing the work to promote the sport, to give back. It's really something quite important. And again, my heart it's again heart beating, because I have the couple with 7 participations at the Olympics combined, looking for the 8th one. So I mean, are we going to see the two of you in Paris? Both participants.
No, I said after Tokyo I'm out. He can do the comeback. So
okay.
Then I will do the Kids Cup and he will race again.
Maybe wait. We'll see what our kids will be able to. But I'm definitely out. I'm out. So I'm just on the start line to watch.
No, you're still the man.
Yeah, I think we still. Even the two of us are getting older, and at some stage, even for us, it might be enough. But that's why it's great to have found Phoenix as a partner, because my career won't last forever. And at the moment, a lot of my sponsors are supporting the Kids Cup, which is really great. We're really thankful, but not everyone might stay if I finish my career. And so to have Phoenix supporting it, and knowing that I will finish my career at some stage, and committing to say, well, we want to build up the Kids Cup together with you. We want to do more races, more kids races, but also going into schools and teach the kids about active lifestyle, what I explained before.
Yeah.
And maybe also inspire the kids from school to take part in a kids triathlon afterwards, and combine those two projects. And I think that's, for both of us, it's really exciting. And I want to spend more time also for those two projects after the Sub-8 project, when I hopefully have a bit less training and a bit more time. And that I think the two of us really are excited to build the kids races and the school projects up, and try to really inspire the kids.
That's again, it's really important. And working with schools, it's a great idea, because multi-sport like triathlon really has a future. So and so I mean, a follow-up question, and then I mean I will cut it. I don't want to take the entire evening of yours, but I mean, you're a very, very interesting not all team, I will say. So how you manage the sport with the kids? Are they already like swimming under the 100 meter under 1 minute. What kind of superhero are going to emerge? we will have the guarantee, the Olympic championship for the next 20 years now. I'm joking. I know you are not the kind of pushy parents.
No, we really said we just want to have our kids the possibilities to do whatever they want to do, and we're going to support them in every kind of ways they want to go. And therefore, we're not pushy, because I think it's difficult if your mom is Olympic champion and your dad won a few medals at World Champs and Europeans. Exactly. So it's going to be difficult to have that burden.
It's very bad. Like, you can't even be better than your mother or your father, because what else is there than become Olympic champion? So I think it's a hard job if you become a professional as a kid of two really good athletes. But to us, as Reto said, it's more important to teach them the messages, like to follow your dreams, to have goals, to not give up. And it doesn't matter in which area, if that's sports or if that's music or if that's school or your dream in the job. I think that's more important than them becoming professional athletes. We know how difficult this way is, and it's not for everyone, and it needs a lot of luck and support. And so I think what is important is the messages, what we learn through sports, and really also appreciate our life and our lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. Yep, thank you for that. I mean, I just wanted to put this out there because, I can just tell to, kind of great parents you can have, but it's also important that you stress this thing, because, it's also a message to the parents here locally. We have a very great community with a lot of, juniors and guys that are growing up, but we really care about what you just said. The fact that you don't have to stress out, and being, go to the Olympics and be a champion, it's really something special. And if it happens, good for you. Otherwise, the values are the most important thing. So again, thank you for sharing that. And yeah, one of the goals of this interview was also to kind of launch the Nicola Spirig Kids Cup. And because we really need to look on something this year, and again, you guys are giving food for thoughts, and not only goals to set for the kids, but also for the people. So again, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us, and we're really looking forward to come to Locarno. Yep. To be at the race venue and being part of that weekend. And thank you for supporting us with everything. And really, we could not do it without help. And really, we appreciate everything you do for us as well. We are able to help you with what we can do. So it's a win-win for both, and especially for the kids. And that's what the most important thing is. We want to help the kids, we want to help the community, and that's what we should do.
Thank you for that. And of course, I mean, now I have your phone number, Reto, so I can stalker you. And when you come to Locarno, no, of course, I'm joking. But again, you always will have the bib number ready for you in Locarno for both of you. And I really wish you all the best for the summer. And I hope it's going to be special. And I'm sure you're able to make it special also for us, because it's going to be fun watching you guys.
Thank you very much. I hope it's a race season for everyone again, also for the age group athletes, and all the best to everyone. And yes, have a good season.
All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.